everybody.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lights Out, baby. We're back. You like that?
Yeah, whoa. It's like I'm on a game show.
And today's episode is going to be very funny because you've not seen a cult leader quite like this one.
No.
Romana Didulo,
Woo!
the Queen of Canada, the QAnon cult leader. This woman is something else.
Yeah.
From another planet, another dimension. A enlightened being filled with alien blood flowing through her veins. All according to her. And even her name, Romana Didulo, is an anagram for I am your Donald.
Our Donald.
I am our Donald.
Yeah.
I am our Donald. So, this is a different kind of episode today, but I came across this woman and I was like, oh my God, I need to talk about this because this is just so out of this world.
She's a nut.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
It's absolute insanity. And it's scary too. There's definitely some very scary elements to her in this group. She has threatened to put 2 bullets in anybody's head who gives a vaccination to a child.
Mm-hmm.
She, of course, was born from the pandemic. At least her, rise to her kind of cult leader status started around then. But just her whole story is very bizarre. It's like, how did we get from here to there? And how are you now leading thousands of people? She's got basically like a compound. She's got people following her around, an entourage. She has...
Which is crazy because typically when I think of like the internet personalities, they kind of stay in their little hole on the internet. They're never like realized, but she was realized. She became like this physical presence that was traveling across Canada that got a physical following of people.
Oh, yeah. And made nationwide news.
Yeah.
She's making the news everywhere. And it's just... It is just bizarre stuff, man. It really is. I mean, families are being torn apart because of this woman, and she's somehow able to convince people to join her cause and follow her leadership. And it's like, what is it based off of?
Whole lot of craziness.
Whole lot of craziness,
Yeah.
I mean, if you know anything about the QAnon conspiracy movement and all of that, today's definitely not a deep dive on the QAnon conspiracy movement, which is kind of, I think, died down in recent years quite a bit. Q kind of said, "See ya."
Been silent for a long time.
Been quiet for a while.
Yeah.
Which I could be wrong. Maybe he's still chirping out there on some message board. But as far as what I know, I mean, I kind of followed it for a bit when it was kind of in its prime. It's all very bizarre, and a lot of it's just fucking just insane. But yeah, today's episode is going to be on the story of Romana Didulo and somebody that's still out there, still actively leading this online group and physical group that she has with her. And so, what is she? Is she really this horrible cult leader? Or is she just kind of a glorified content creator who's just kind of like, this is her shtick, and I guess people are allowed to believe what they want to believe and follow who they want to follow. And I guess that's your right. But at what cost?
Right. Yeah.
So let's just get into it. So who is Romana Didulo? Well, she was born in 1974 in Naga City, Philippines, and she was the youngest of 2 children. And she came from a wealthy family. Her father, Romaldo, was an engineer and lawyer. Her mother, Anna, was a homemaker. Her father died when she was only 10 years old, and her mother died actually the following year. She was then raised by her aunt and grandparents. And on July 25th, 1990, at 15 years old, she immigrated from the Philippines to Vancouver, Canada. And in the early 2000s, she worked for several businesses. And by 2020, of course, during the pandemic, this is when she's really started, I guess, this whole concept of I am, Queen of Canada. I am this enlightened being here to save the world, of course. from all of the evil people in power who are doing all sorts of evil things and destroying this planet. So I'm here to save everybody. She claimed that no one knew the truth about her before the COVID-19 pandemic because she was living a double life. One life was boring. She lived in an apartment working menial jobs, but at night she would meet with the leaders of the American military and the Allied forces with the goal of liberating Canada.
Wow.
She believes that Canada is under control by the corporations, the evil elites. And so she's saying that she's having all these high-level meetings with military officials. Somehow she got her, clearance, her top secret clearance to go meet with these people behind closed doors. And she met with, quote, His Highness David J. Carlson, who was acting in the role of Commander-in-Chief of the United States Air Force Academy Civilian Command of Military Operations. And he appointed Romana in 2017 after she coordinated a mission against the Chinese Communist military who were trying to occupy Canada in underground tunnels and planning to attack the United States of America.
Wow.
Take that all in.
I knew it. I knew this was going on.
And this is also when she unofficially started a new political party in Canada called the Canada First Party with the motto, Draining the Swamp in Ottawa. Very original. It was described on the website as being the national political party that wanted to remove those currently in power, and their end goal was, quote, dissolving all national parties and to eliminate the globalists and communists. You go, girl.
Yeah.
She believed that the Chinese Communist military is a front for the New World Order, and it's made up of course, devil-loving Satanists who are doing the most evil things, and individuals who want to engage in eugenics. Policies included enhancing the economy, investigating and prosecuting corrupt politicians, healthcare officials, law enforcement agencies, and drug dealers, removing weapons, targeting human and child traffickers, canceling foreign aid funding, and reducing and eliminating taxes. So this is the thing about all this stuff, right? There's always little tidbits of truth in there, right? There's always little tidbits of like things that I think every single person
we could work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could kind of get on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can kind of get on board with that idea. So, and that's the hooks, right? That's where they kind of like hook you.
Right.
Because if you're like, oh yeah, part of what you're saying kind of makes sense. So maybe I'll entertain a little bit more. And then, somebody who's manipulative will work off of that.
Yeah.
And find other ways to get in with you.
I like how ambitious her goals are too.
Oh yeah.
It's just solving everything here.
This is simple.
Yeah.
This is all we got to do. All right.
Yeah.
Just got to get these fucking, child eating corporate elites out of there, and we'll have a better planet here. Much of her political inspiration and strategies, of course, came from, our dearest and our. It's just not even words to describe our commander-in-chief here, President Donald Trump. Of course, very, very inspired by him, as we all are, right? We're all so inspired. Far-right politics and conspiracy theories, which have all been married together in recent years. And of course, we'll get into what those are a little bit later.
I mean, as we get into this, you'll see she just takes a lot from Trump's playbook. And
it's a little parody to me.
It almost is. Yeah, it's like a satire.
Chirp.
Like how ridiculous she is. I think it just like saying things. She's really good at that, and I think that's kind of like a Trumpism. You just say what's on your mind in the most ridiculous.
I'll say what everybody's thinking. All right.
Yeah. Right.
This is what everybody actually is thinking.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. So on her party's website, which is still up, we'll link it if you want to check it out. She declared herself head of state, commander-in-chief, head of government of Canada, president and queen of the Kingdom of Canada. She claimed that she had been appointed to these positions by the QAnon White Hats, the American military, and the global allied troops and their governments, dude. She is so well connected. It is astounding that we don't hear her name everywhere on the news here in America. I don't know how we haven't heard of her yet.
It's because they don't want you to know, man.
She's
that's why.
course not. And she's also addressed political issues like veterans affairs, gun laws, and COVID-19 masking. Very important issues. Even though she claimed she was backed by the U.S. military, she was denied entry into the U.S. by Customs and Border. She's denied by Border Patrol. Said, nah, sorry. And we don't know exactly why, but it's believed because she's tried to use her fake Purple Kingdom of Canada passport.
Yeah.
She made her own passports, of course.
Yeah, completely illegitimate.
Because here's the thing is, she is very much the embodiment of, in a lot of ways, of the sovereign citizen.
Right, yep.
Sort of movement and ideologies of like, I don't believe in the federal government, doesn't really exist. It's all fraud. And, you know, we operate by these common laws, and it's all very confusing. But if you know anything about sovereign citizens, she's definitely giving off that vibe. You know, they create their own documentation. They don't need to get driver's license. They don't need passports, things like that.
Yeah. What is it? I'm not operating a vehicle. I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
Yeah.
All that shit. Yeah.
I'm a citizen of the planet.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
And if you've ever watched an episode of Cops, there's always a great episode where a cop deals with a sovereign citizen. It's always entertaining. So she probably was trying to get in with her Purple Kingdom of Canada passports, and apparently the U.S. Border Patrol was not in the know of who she is.
Yeah,
you know, she's.
Well, you've never heard of the Kingdom of Canada?
Yeah,
come on, man, let me in.
Everybody's got that app that you hop on every single day, and usually it's that pee in the morning. You know, you're in the bathroom and you just go to your phone. We all do it.
You got to kill some time.
And that app for me is Rocket Money.
Rocket Money, nice.
Not gonna lie, Rocket Money is the first app I pop on. I don't know why. It's just a routine now. I like to pop on there and see how my money's doing. Make sure that the bank didn't go bye-bye overnight and it's all gone.
It might.
You never know. That's a legitimate fear.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully the FDIC is real at the end of the day. But yeah, I like to get on there and make sure, the money's still there, that my bills are getting paid. And Rocket Money just makes it so easy to do it. It's just, the easiest way to manage your personal finances. If you haven't used it, you need to start using it because it can do so many things and create a personalized budget for you with custom categories. It can even let you know when your bills are coming out of your account, because you basically create your Rocket Money account. You download the app, create the account. We'll use our link, of course, to sign up. But once you get your account set up with it, your bank accounts, your credit cards, then it just starts monitoring everything for you.
Yeah.
It sends you emails.
Yeah.
It sends you alerts. It'll automatically scan through your bills to find ones that could potentially try to negotiate a better rate for you. Then you just take a picture of it, upload it, Rocket Money does the rest, and it could save you money. Plus, it manages all of those subscriptions. It lists them all out for you, and with a few taps, it'll even cancel some of those for you as well.
For me, it helps with my self-discipline too, because you can see like, oh, your spending is way up from last month. And I'm like, God, what did I? And like the Criterion Collection sale at Barnes & Noble is coming up, and I know Rocket Money is going to yell at me. So it helps keep me in check. You know?
Well, you don't want to see your net worth continue to spiral downwards.
Continue to.
Because you can monitor that as well. You can actually monitor your net worth so you can really connect everything so you get a complete financial picture. And you want to see that go up. You want to see it rocket up.
So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter our show name, Lights Out, in the survey so they know that we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from our show.
She also claimed that the ambassador from Canada to the Philippines said that he knew her personally and that they had met in the past at her immigration interview. When he stamped her passport, he prophesied that she would one day lead the world and save Canada.
Sure.
I love the imagination of these people. A lot of cult leaders have great imaginations, I must say. She often spoke with followers on Telegram in 2021 and also began making YouTube videos later where she issued her decrees to the masses. Many of her decrees and ideologies came from, as I just mentioned, the sovereign citizen movement, which is basically this rejection of government statutes and authority. Sovereign citizens do not see themselves as citizens of the government within those borders. that they live. They declare that typical government laws, taxes, and jurisdictions do not apply to them. And her following has been described as a second wave pseudo-law group. So it's very much from the same vein.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
She just uses other people's playbooks.
She's borrowed a lot of ideas.
As a lot of cult leaders do, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like they just like get all their favorites and they're like, I'll make my own.
It's a mishmash. Yeah. So Romana hopped on this growing political movement, the sovereign citizens movement, the COVID restrictions where people were all up in arms over. And then she made a name for herself online. At first, she didn't really gain much attention, but this persistence in her online presence eventually gained her tens of thousands of followers. And her beliefs basically piggybacked off of problematic mainstream conspiracy theories. And one of her go-to conspiracy theories that really made her popular was the dangers of vaccines, specifically the COVID-19 vaccines. And in May 2021, she released her first public action. This decree supported QAnon theories that President Biden did not hold his elected position. We've heard that before, right? And that the American military was in control of the USA. This is the same military that gave her authority as Queen of Canada. So a lot going on here. But she also directed her decree in the form of a cease and desist letter at Canadian politicians, health officials, police, and medical personnel. And she informed them that all COVID-19 mandates and treatments must stop immediately. Her statements became more radical as time went on, and she was soon put on the national news radar when her decrees became a bit more violent. Because, as Josh was mentioning earlier, here she is talking about retaliation toward healthcare workers administering the COVID-19 vaccine to children.
This is alarming.
Yeah. And this was early on, too.
For each child that you have harmed, you will receive not one, but 2 bullets on your forehead. Think very, very carefully before you touch that needle.
So she's just threatening to assassinate these people.
Yeah, put 2 bullets in their head.
And this is kind of how she's starting things off.
Yeah. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, this is right out of the gate. So the intense political strife following COVID-19 and the height of the QAnon conspiracy movement made groups like Romana's flourish. And by June 2021, she created new taglines for her movement. The QAnon slogan, quote, "Where we go one, we go all." And, quote, "Peace and prosperity or perish."
That's sick.
Peace and prosperity. Yeah.
It's like a metal band.
Right. She also posted notices identifying practices that had been outlawed in her, quote unquote, kingdom and the associated penalties. These included, but were not limited to, 1, performing sex change operations on youths aged 24 and under. 2, using hormonal unnatural medicine, including hormone blockers. And 3, all pharmaceutical medications. Period.
Yeah.
All of them. Didulo also banned teaching, quote, race theory in schools. Not critical race theory, just race theory, whatever that is, ranging from daycare centers to college. And this ban included military schools. So we have transphobia. We obviously have a anti-big pharma movement. We can read into this.
Healthcare.
In general, yeah.
Anti-healthcare.
Standard, conventional healthcare, yeah. And then a little bit of racism on top of that. And also, as we could see, these are a lot of talking points for the far right. Also, she said any materials or books in libraries teaching, again, just race theory were to be immediately destroyed. Romana also changed the minimum age of sexual consent and marriage to 24 years old. Punishments for failure to comply would include fines of 5 billion Canadian dollars, trials by a military tribunal, 30 or more years in prison without bail or parole, expulsion from the country, or just plain death. She also urged her followers to stop paying taxes because she had made them illegal and the Canadian politicians no longer existed.
Yeah, wow. That guy Justin Trudeau doesn't exist anymore.
He doesn't exist.
No.
Yeah. Maybe if she had just done a little bit more research into things, like she doesn't even know.
Well, why is she like punishing everybody when there's inequality? You know what I mean? It's
right.
like,
yeah.
There's other ways to go about doing this where everybody doesn't, get hosed.
Yeah.
One way or another. It's just like,
she's clearly
not thinking through this that well.
No, she's not. I think she's just taking far right talking points, making them her own with a little bit of flair on them and pushing them up.
Yeah. And just like whatever she's reading on, the QAnon forums, she's just taking
recycled.
That. Yeah, totally. And she probably follows a bunch of other, influencers in that space and taking things from them and their ideals and stuff.
Right.
I wonder how much of this is actually, manifesting in her brain originally. Right?
I think probably 0% of it.
Yeah. Some like medieval sort of punishment here.
Yeah, maybe the punishments are coming from her. I could see that. I like how none of them really, I don't know. Can you equate 5 billion Canadian dollar fines to death? Yeah. Does she see those as equal in her mind, or 30 years in prison? I don't really understand. But so she urged her followers to stop paying taxes. Like I said, they're illegal now. She told her followers to prepare for the switch to a quantum financial system, which is a QAnon conspiracy that would result in all debt forgiveness and all fiat currency cash being replaced with gold-backed currency. We don't have to get into the weeds about that, but again, just taking a QAnon concept and then making it her own, recycling it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, in essence, removing the power of the governments behind the currency and the ability to print money and things like that.
Right.
Kind of, heading into, sort of this universal currency, kind of the whole, crypto theology.
Yep.
In a way.
And over the years, many of her followers have had their power and water turned off, incurred late fees and mounting debt, and some stopped paying property taxes to the point that they lost their homes entirely. Some of her followers ended up living out of their cars, and one woman posted an image from a bank showing she had racked up $47,000 on a personal credit line, and she was frustrated the debt collectors wouldn't listen to Romana's videos she sent them.
Oh my.
She tried to send them Romana's
Why are
videos.
You still billing me?
Yeah. Listen to this woman.
There are no taxes or bills.
Yeah. Did you guys
not watch? It's a debt-free society.
Yeah. Didn't you watch the decree video that I sent from this random lady? Come on.
Bow to your queen or die.
Yeah.
Perish.
Oh, man. But, man, it's like sad that she has these people convinced that they really don't have to pay this. One concerned follower wrote, quote, "Queen Romana, it is time you show your authority to the MSM now."
Mainstream media.
Yes. I agreed that it is time to enforce your decrees Canada-wide and take out the fake Trudeau from his office. We, the people, are trying to enforce the decrees with little success.
I like how she's not the one to enforce these decrees. She's having her followers do all of it.
Yeah, right. They're trying
to. How fucked is that?
Yeah. And we'll see going forward how she basically makes her little decrees, and then she expects her followers to really act upon them, where she kind of sits back. She knows exactly when to get involved with things and when not to get involved with things, because she kind of wants to rinse her hands of her own decrees sometimes, which we'll see going forward. She's really manipulative about doing that. But these followers, they had been sending these generic letters to utility companies demanding that they turn their power, water, or internet back on, whatever it is. And her use of decrees was a feature that she took, even this wasn't an original thing that she thought of. These were from early religious movements like the IM movement and the Church Universal and Triumphant. She urged her followers to read or listen to her decrees every single night and then discuss their content with the other followers. So we're seeing the cult manifesting.
Yeah.
Here. Other decrees involved clearing out all refugees and immigrants at a crossing in Quebec, which was apparently a hot button issue for the far right Canadians at the time. And Another mentioned that, quote, publishing slanderous articles concerning Queen Romana Didulo of the kingdom would result in an immediate 30-year prison sentence.
Sorry, haters. Going to prison.
Straight to prison.
Oh, man. Well, even though she was often stationed in Canada, her influence reached much farther than that because of her internet presence. She did not show herself in public for years, and she gathered a lot of followers from different conspiracy hubs across the internet, especially websites like 4chan. Early on, she was vocal about Q, the anonymous online persona behind what became the QAnon movement. And, there's a lot of theories about who Q might be. But she often mentioned theories for why Q had gone silent or was silenced in 2020 and again in 2022. She stepped in the spotlight when Q was no longer active. She was like, oh, opportunity here.
Almost a power vacuum.
Now all these Q followers, they're like wondering if this is real or not. Well, I'll jump in and provide the answers.
Right.
And maybe they'll follow me. And that's exactly what she did. In 2021, she gained an estimated 73,000 followers, which this was her peak. She called some of them her duck hunters because she once wrote on Telegram, quote, shoot to kill anyone who tries to inject children under the age of 19 years old with the coronavirus 19 vaccines, bioweapons, or any other vaccines. This order is effective immediately. What the fuck?
Yeah. I like how she just directly compares vaccines to bioweapons too.
Yeah.
She's very clear about that.
I like how she calls them her duck hunters.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what on earth is going on here? In November 2021, the plan had caught the attention of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who detained her and sent her for a wellness check. She was eventually released, and one of her followers in Quebec was also arrested after allegedly threatening to shoot up his daughter's school for offering free vaccinations. So you just see how this just spirals out of control and gets very dangerous very fast. And surprisingly, no charges were filed in that incident.
Yeah, and this is where it becomes a problem. Because, okay, if Romana is just spouting her crazy crap,
if you don't want to believe in vaccines, fine.
Yeah. But then you're inciting violence. You don't exactly know who your followers are. You have tens of thousands of followers out there. There's bound to be one nut job who then takes that very seriously.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Does she realize what could happen if one of her followers goes and shoots up a school because of something you said?
Right. That should have been a wake up call.
Yeah,
right there.
Absolutely.
But was it? No.
Throughout the years, Romana and her followers would send out fake cease and desist letters that were often threatening to try and control a wide variety of operations. These could be sent to anyone, including politicians, businesses, teachers, fast food workers, soldiers, journalists, and gas station employees. I want to see the letter sent to the fast food.
The poor fast food. It's like a 16-year-old.
You're killing people with that vile, toxic bioweapon garbage you're feeding. Oh, she's totally looped into all that shit too.
Yeah, definitely. I like I like the teachers too. Like a poor underpaid teacher gets imagine them getting like a
brainwashing our children.
Yeah, getting a cease and desist letter from just some weirdo on the internet
from the Kingdom of Canada.
Yeah, right.
These days, there's nothing I got time for, really. I don't have time for anything.
Nothing.
Just it's work. It's feed my child, play with her, go to sleep, take care of my pets. That's about it.
Rinse, repeat.
And I don't even go to the grocery store anymore.
You know what my thing is? Here's a minor gripe of mine that really just it doesn't set the scene well for me. The fluorescent lights in the grocery store.
Why haven't they figured that out yet?
Can we get some mood lighting in here? God.
Why is that?
I don't know. Everything looks, it is for visibility's sake. I get that. You got to read what's on the shelf and the prices.
But they could find a more creative way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not cost effective though.
Yeah.
You want cheap lighting, keep it cheap. Well, you don't need to go anymore. Just stop.
Yeah, just stop.
We're not trying to convince you to go to the grocery store. Stop. You don't need to waste time, waste money, or meal planning because Hungry Root has got it figured out. Mm-hmm. They have got this down to a science. I am a paying customer of Hungry Root because I love their service so much. It's the easiest way to put dinner on the table for your family, and it's a great way to eat healthier. just love a good, healthy meal.
Same.
You know, and it doesn't have to be, you know, like some seeds and kale, you know, kale salad, you know, like I don't eat like a bird. I don't look like a bird. I eat like a bear, dude. I eat like a bear every night. I'm like eating delicious greens with this big juicy steak, or they've got salmon that's just, you know, it's so easy. You just throw it in a pan or throw it in the air fryer. A lot of their proteins are already cooked for you, so it's really just heating it up.
Love it.
The rice is ready to make in a few minutes. Everything is fast.
So fast.
And really, you can tailor the meals to how fast you want it. If you want to do a little bit more work and you want to cook it, you know, all the raw ingredients, they have some meals for you. It's really the customization that makes Hungry Root such a unique service, because you can customize the recipes, the individual ingredients, you can add, remove. I mean, it's truly the most customizable meal service out there, and we love it for that reason.
Yeah, and if you're feeling a little adventurous too, they'll sometimes throw you something, you know, you take a little quiz and they kind of curate a diet for you. So one time I just went with it, I sent it, and it gave me it was like cauliflower rice, but then you put this curry on top of it. It was some type of curry that I've never had before, and I love Indian food, but it ended up blowing my mind. It was really good. So even if you want to just gamble a little bit, they'll send you something good.
They have breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can even just get straight up groceries if you want to make your own meals. They've got healthy snacks like smoothies. They've got kids snacks, sweets, ready to eat meals, salad kits, and even supplements. So you can really do the meal service. You can just do all your groceries through them, and you don't have to worry about all that nasty garbage that is in a lot of the brands at your local grocery store. You know, no high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, or preservatives. They don't have any of that in any of Hungry Root's food. They only source the top quality meat and seafood free of hormones and antibiotics. So you're going to love Hungry Root as much as we do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life.
Go to hungryroot.com/lightsout and use code lightsout. That's hungryroot.com/lightsout, code lightsout to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/lightsout, code
lights out, baby. Try it today.
But Romana took advantage of the like-minded subgroups whose outrage and angst towards vaccines, masks, and mandates were at an all-time high during this time, and she managed to gain a pretty significant following.
Because people, one thing if we all remember, there was some people out there who were really upset about the
really
upset about the masks.
Yeah, and we were kind of
mandates
we were just looking up right before recording just to check it out. But it did seem like Canada had a pretty collective approach to the mandates compared to the U.S., where it was a state by state thing a lot of the times, and it was a bit more lax in certain areas, where Canada seemed a bit more restrictive. And so I would understand where you could just rile a bunch of people up with a bit heavier restrictions here. She knew exactly how to strike while the iron was hot.
Oh, yeah.
So by January 2022, she made one of her first public appearances in Ottawa during the Freedom Convoy, which was a series of blockades and protests surrounding the COVID-19 mandates for cross-border truck drivers. Protesters, they didn't have one unified voice. They were more vague demands like Canada's freedom be returned and COVID restrictions be lifted, but they didn't really have specifics. And at this time, she lived in a room rented inside a house in Victoria, British Columbia, and her early followers described this room as filthy and full of stuff like a storage closet.
Hoarder.
Yeah. And this is where our queen is residing. Seeing how people were rallying in person, though, Romana decided to make herself known, finally, face to face. So she ordered some of her followers to moderate her Telegram channels, and she left her small, grungy room to finally speak in public for one of the first times ever. And here she is at the Freedom Convoy speaking.
Hello, everyone. I am Queen Romana of Canada. I am backed by the Armed Forces of the United States.
Wow.
There are no more elections.
No more.
No more politicians.
Done.
No more politics. in the Kingdom of Canada.
She even went so far as to burn the Canadian flag.
Yep.
Bye-bye, Corporation Canada.
So this actually backfired because, she kind of misread the crowd here. She burned the Canadian flag. Several people started booing and heckling her since many of the protesters there, many of the truckers consider themselves patriots of their countries. They were like, well, we were kind of on board for a second until you started burning the flag. And now we don't really know what to think here. And even many of her own followers began questioning her after this. And she accused her critics on Telegram, saying they were in the pocket of George Soros and the Chinese Communist Party and the New World Order.
Oh, take that. Take that.
Oh,
she's got an answer for everything, man.
Yeah. And she wrote, quote, "The ancient royal families, white hats military, global alliance, galactic and intergalactic alliance federations of worlds of light beings have been working for thousands of years to free planet Earth. And suddenly you say truckers freed the world? Get your head out of the toilet, boy."
Okay.
All right. There are a lot of forces here at play.
Yeah.
Pretty grandiose forces at that.
And yet she's not surrounded by any of them. I haven't seen a single one by her side.
No.
Where's all the U.S. military? There's not one U.S. military member who's willing to stand next to you.
No. And her followers don't really question it either.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's like, I believe what she says she is, I guess. People just go out on faith, basically. But she and her loyal followers then headed to Montreal after this, Quebec and Halifax, and she was basically kind of on this campaign trail, if you think about it like that. She was even seen giving autographs and kissing babies, which is
beautiful.
That's like
we love it.
That's really the conventional campaign trail. You got to kiss a baby, right? She then took her followers to the coast where she blessed the Atlantic Ocean. Thank you, Atlantic Ocean. She would make even more outlandish claims to gain attention, like Canada was sold to China by conservative and liberal Canadian politicians, and all the parties with the blessing of the fake queen. She also said that JFK Jr. was still alive, and she believed that ships in the sky controlled the weather. Wake up, sheeple.
Yep. Stop sleeping. Get out of George Soros's back pocket there.
Right.
Yeah, this is just, it's just fucking insane.
It's crazy, right? And it's like, who would follow her? Apparently a lot of people. So it's a humbling reminder that even
really
the craziest people can get a following.
Yep.
That's kind of the nature of the world we live in a little bit. Content creation, right?
Yeah,
you can just,
it's true. Anybody can.
And the more radical stuff that you say, you might find a little pocket where your following kind of explodes. But here's Romana in February 2022, and she's just straight up declaring World War III.
All right, let's just take a moment to evaluate her. Is this her throne? Is this her...
This looks like a hotel room, does it not?
1,000%. This looks like maybe, a Drury Inn.
Yeah.
She's just by the gold. Looks like the blackout curtains that you slide over in most hotels.
Yep. And this is just like a fancy desk chair that they put, the desk in the corner.
Totally. And then she propped up her flag. They have their own flags.
Oh, yeah.
Their own symbols.
Looks like she got her hair done.
She's got her little pea coat on.
Yeah.
She's ready for fucking business, dude. Let's go. What do you got to say?
My fellow Canadians, I address you today as your Queen and Commander-in-Chief. We are on the eve of World War III.
Whoa.
I ask that everyone come as one people and one nation, and to work with the United States and all of our allies around the world. God help us and Godspeed.
Oh,
man.
it's like, I just want to ask one person who saw that and was like, that's my leader. That's who I'm following.
That's the queen.
She is it. She knows what's going on. How?
I think.
What about that inspires anything?
Yeah. It's such a generic statement, too. And again, it's always these grandiose concepts.
Yeah. And it's always the U.S. military. It's like, what about the Canadian military? You have a whole military.
Forget it. It's the
the U.S.
military.
military. She wants to be an American, clearly.
It's
very bad. She wants
sure.
in with the Q's inner group. She's hoping to get
Ooh.
to the inner group. Because, that's just, I don't know. It's comical.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
funny.
Do you guys think that this video was in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine?
It was possibly around the same time. Yeah. I mean, she knows how to use events like that to incite something or make
very
a statement,
strategic, right?
Yeah.
When everybody's like, every time some type of conflict breaks out in the world, we're all like, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the Star Wars
playing on that fear?
Yeah,
totally.
Definitely.
And her followers are looking to her
100%.
to be like, oh no, what did Q say about this? What do we do? It's
Right.
like they're all looking for like, what's the next move here? What do we do? Because they really feel like they're part of this movement. Like they're these true patriots that are really here trying to like save the country from this great evil.
Yeah.
And so they're hungry. They just want to know, like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah. And if we go with that, like if that was her response, she is smart enough to not add any specifics.
Mm-hmm.
She does not mention the specific conflict at all. I guarantee you it's because she's the least read person on the conflict and doesn't know anything about it.
No.
So she's smart enough to be like, okay, since I don't know anything, I'm not going to get into specifics. I'll just make a very broad statement here.
And say, Godspeed.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody.
Meanwhile, she also started manufacturing her own lore.
Yes.
This is where it's like, okay, maybe we can kind of follow for a bit. Maybe some of us are like, I was kind of following the Q rabbit hole for a bit, and she's kind of got me in her grips for a bit. But then she claimed she was an alien from another planet.
Yep.
And I love when people proclaim that they're an alien. I just love it. It's just fun. It's a fun thing to think about.
It's the biggest like attention seeking thing too.
Oh my
right?
God. When people are like, surprise.
Yeah. I'm the most special person here, actually.
Surprise. I am not from this planet. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's what she does. She's like, I'm from this alien planet. And I've gone through Phoenix Fire, she called it, before arriving on Earth. According to Romana, the alien beings there, including herself, are, of course, quote, the most advanced. Like Yoda.
What? Star Wars reference.
What planet is Yoda from? Dagobah?
Dagobah,
Dagobah, but that's not an advanced planet. He's living in a swamp.
Yeah.
So even the lore doesn't add up.
I was watching a video before we started recording today, and in one of the video, it showed I can't remember exactly what it was. If I can find it again, I'll post it on screen. It's basically like a social media description of like all her interests and likes, and one of her favorite movies was Star Wars.
There you go.
So I think that's where a lot of this is coming from.
And a lot of people who claim to be aliens are Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
They love
I'm an
it
alien.
so much. I want to be. What planet are you from?
I am from Tatooine.
Tatooine.
I got sand everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like sand.
You're one of those sand guys, the Tuskens or whatever.
The Tusken Raiders.
The Tusken Raiders, aren't you?
Yeah.
The sandwalkers, right?
Sandwalkers, the sand people, which
track
is oddly
yeah, a little. What's going on there?
We're towing the line here,
Yeah.
George Lucas.
But what was their thing? You can't see their footprints in the sand or something?
They would walk with their footprints in lines, so you could never count their numbers accurately.
Gotcha, yeah. I was saying, though, I wish I could see her library because that, like this all kind of makes sense. I feel like a lot of this fictionalized stuff, it makes sense that she's a huge Star Wars fan. She's quoting, or she's a
Yoda. She is Yoda.
Yoda, right?
She's like, I am Master Yoda.
Yeah. So I wonder what else she's pilfering from on her library or her movie shelf, you know?
Probably a few others.
Yeah.
She later claimed that instead, she was from an ancient royal dynasty that had, quote, 0 Chinese blood.
It's just, we need to be clear.
Yeah, that's her quote. And that was once, quote, invaded by the evil Spanish king for 500 years.
Okay.
The evil Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. She also claimed that at a young age, her grandmother told her that she would lead the world. So she's definitely, you know, cooking up the lore, right? Like from a young age, everybody told me I was going to be this grand, you know, leader of the world, and I'm going to deliver us from all of the corrupt, evil people in power and blah, blah, blah. And she spoke 5 different languages that were taught to her by her grandmother, a grade 1 school teacher.
There's not a chance she can speak 5 languages.
No. Maybe she probably speaks another language, but 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Her grandmother also mounted a, quote, strategic defense and offense and successfully blocked the Chinese from invading their regional stronghold during World War II. And this claim doesn't make any sense because Japan occupied the Philippines during World War II, not China. So this is just feeding into the communist.
Yes, always anti-communism, anti-China. Yeah.
She would also claim that the death of her parents was a steep price to pay so that we, the people, could have freedom. So there you go, self-sacrifice.
Yeah. Also, isn't that crazy? She's like adding these fictionalized dimensions to the death of her parents.
Yeah.
That's how far she's willing to go with this.
Which I'm sure convinced a number of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
And it was really the loss of her parents that was the catalyst for her moving from the Philippines and then entering the Kingdom of Canada. Christina Sartesky, a professor of criminology and social work who studies extremist groups at Chatham University, believes that this was a way for Romana to feel important and special. Because of course it was. Romana also believes that she was sent here by a divine being, the master creator themselves, and that she has been sent here to save people through peace and prosperity or perish.
Yep.
She clearly has a God complex, savior complex. She believes that she's guided by the highest divine being in the universe and like, I am. Just say, yeah, I'm here to deliver you.
Yeah.
Professor Sartesky defines Romana and her followers as a cult because they travel together, they have uniforms, they all wear white, they communicate in tight social circles, and they have certain behaviors they have to engage in. Romana also has a very dominating presence and control in their lives. She often forced her staff to make videos of support. And in one video, they all declared their love for her and swore they weren't being held hostage.
We swear.
We swear. We're okay. We can leave.
Meanwhile, they're blinking the Morse code, like, help me get out of here.
Yeah. Because they do like streaming, and they have like their like streaming news, and like different members of this cult would get on there and
for fundraising or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Or just talk about how much they love her to the point that they're in tears.
Yeah.
Some followers said they used to feel like black sheep, but now they feel accepted in Romana's group.
Classic cult, right?
Cult.
I always felt like an outsider out there, but yeah, now I feel accepted.
But Romana's taken a lot of different ideologies from earlier religious movements. She took many concepts from the I Am movement from the 1930s and the Church of Universal and Triumphant, a New Age religious group founded in the 1970s. In Decrees, she's mentioned the power of light and the etheric, which are concepts directly from Church Universal and Triumphant. Etheric is a term used to describe an energy-based body existing alongside the physical body. I think a lot of us have heard this term before. She also mentioned concepts such as the Akashic Records, a popular concept regarding the compendium of all life containing, all the knowledge within the universe and these the spiritual record base in this sort of other dimension.
Yeah.
Again, stolen concept here.
Yep.
So she's really just cherry picked a lot of ideas, a lot of her favorites from a lot of different movements, including the violent flame of St. Germain and the power of Christ's light. But the big one was that an ascended master would create a new world in which America would be the model for other nations to emulate. Romana considered herself an ascended master. She described herself as heart-aligned with your highest divine being, and she would work with extraterrestrials to rule over Canada and lead her followers into Canada 2.0. Not crazy at all. Not out there at all. I mean,
unfortunately, like I think the God element, the deity element, might have propelled her case. You know, I think that might have attracted a lot of people.
Oh,
I think
totally.
people are looking for that God complex in their leaders. They like to see it, as we can see with Donald Trump and his narcissism, right? People love to see that in a leader, where it's just like, oh, this person's clearly so far up their own ass, but a lot of people end up liking that.
She's made herself like Jesus to these people. It's just wild to me that people are like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And people don't see the contradictions, I think, in a lot of like faith-based circles, not to critique them all, but I do think, you know, you can kind of look the other way for certain things. You have a bit of cognitive dissonance because she just has these inconsistencies, even with her own lore. Like she was saying, oh, I'm from an alien, like I'm a divine alien being. But then she's also like, no, I'm actually from a divine what was it? It was the Spanish king, you know, tried to overthrow us, and I'm from a bloodline that has 0 Chinese blood. So she can't even match her stories up exactly. But I think people who follow her are willing to look the other way, that it doesn't really bother them.
Which is just wild.
Yeah.
It's just wild to me. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to even know what to think about it. You're like, this is that we all know it's possible, especially in this day and age. It's like, you know, people believe all sorts of things, but
to
just like come out of nowhere and just assert yourself into the mix and be like, I am this, that, and the other, and then people are like, yeah,
you are,
I can get behind that, sure.
Yeah, it's wild, but it works. But then it doesn't work because we're about to get in. I mean, you might be asking yourself, how are all these people all following her? Well, it's an important reminder that throughout her time in the spotlight, many followers did stop following her for one reason or another. So we'll get into that. And a lot of the reason we have a lot of the stories that have come out is from ex-followers. So Romana and her followers would travel around in a really large RV, which had the words "Mobile Government" and "God Loves You" written on the side. It also advertised, quote, "Meet and greet Her Majesty Queen Romana, Commander-in-Chief of the Kingdom of Canada." And her fleet, so to speak, eventually grew to several RVs with several pilot vehicles traveling in front and behind the RVs. So almost like a convoy that you would see a politician ride in a little bit. Not many of her followers have spoken about their experiences out of fear of Romana, but in recent years, some who have left the group have opened up about it. And in 2022, she had a dedicated group of about 12 people who had given up their day-to-day lives to travel with her. And this is when it becomes realized. And they all wore uniforms. And these were, Josh was mentioning, the white shirts. They have the letters QR for Queen Romana on the chest. And her followers ranged in age from anywhere from like their 20s to their 70s. Many were ordered to drive her around since Romana refused to drive anywhere. They were also expected to shop, cook for her, provide security, and help with her online productions. They would also have to do extremely menial tasks. According to a former follower, Romana once woke her up at 4 a.m. just to turn on her hotel coffee maker.
Important
work.
Stuff.
Yeah.
This divine being needs her caffeine in the morning, needs that cappuccino.
Right.
An espresso.
Oh my God, she's just like me. According to former followers, every morning at around 6 or 7 a.m., Romana would play her favorite song from it's a disco supergroup Boney M's popular hit, Rasputin, which she would have fun for about an hour before they would go get to work. And at one point, her followers even recorded their own version of the song with lyrics about her. And apparently Daniel has a little story about this song.
So I used to work in the restaurant industry, and I used to work at an Italian restaurant. And at this restaurant, I'm sure many of you know, well, kitchen workers, you know that you can play your own music in the kitchen. So there was one day where I did play Boney M, this exact song, for about 6.5 hours straight. And I finally turned it off when one of the servers finally snapped, came back, and just ripped the plug to the speakers out of the wall.
Damn.
So
I can't take it anymore.
I can attest the power of this song to annoy people.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And we'll see a little bit later that this song actually does kind of drive some members.
I must say,
the brink
too,
here.
these guys are just look elite. Them in their uniform, I mean, just absolute elite.
So sick.
I would trust them to run my country. They are literally wearing white button-ups with one little patch or two little patches maybe sewn onto it.
Yeah.
And they just are inspiring to look at.
They look like paramedics.
It looks like, I don't even know. It looks like the country club is like having a little book club or a little campsite.
Yeah, I like how they have official like name tags around their neck. Like, oh no, it almost looks like press. Like you know, you can confirm your identity on the spot if you need to anyone.
Well, it makes me wonder because this image, it looks like primarily people like middle-aged people. Looks like there might be a few younger dudes in their 20s, but I'm like, what is the disparity in the ages there? Like,
right, 20s to 70s.
Yeah, but how many youngins are joining up here?
They got one.
Yeah. They got it's like one family maybe is in it or something.
And it kind of gave me this isn't true for a lot of people, but part of me was thinking, I'm like, are these just kind of, they're either retired or just got nothing to do in their day-to-day life and they're just bored out of their skull. So they're like, you know what, this sounds kind of fun. I'm going to go check this out. But yeah, another former member who went by Daisy, they didn't want to give their real name, said, quote, the abuse was nonstop. It was never ending. No proper meals, no sleep. She didn't care. She said, if you work for the Queen, you work for the Queen. You volunteered to be here. Why are you complaining? Daisy said she also lost 10 to 15 pounds during her time with Romana. And Romana's abuse, which was often emotional and manipulative, sometimes escalated to violent threats. Another follower, Corey, said that Romana threatened to have him killed several times, including being shot in the head or thrown from a helicopter. She once threatened him because he booked a pickup time for an RV at 5 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. I don't know how he could make that kind of mistake, man. But that's insane. That shows she has people under her thumb so much that she could just threaten to kill them if they make a minor mistake. Another follower, Chris Cowan, a videographer, said that Romana had once given him permission to use the group's RV to go pick up some electronic parts and dinner. And he took a few others with him. When he returned, she said he was lucky to be alive. She said, quote, you can't split up the convoy, otherwise our military is going to shoot you. She then, quote unquote, let go Chris and a few who had gone with him. One follower began crying on the spot, thinking it was her destiny to serve Romana. Chris then took back his equipment the group had used to produce Romana's videos, and she accused him of hijacking the RV and kidnapping several of her staff members. She then wrote on Telegram, quote, a reminder, in the Kingdom of Canada, treason equals death penalty. She then shared photos of Chris along with his phone number and social media profiles. She called him a, quote, deep state agent infiltrator and implied he was a devil worshiper. She wrote, quote, he will not survive what is coming. Fan of Satan and a traitor. Maybe he should be the first to hang publicly for the other traitors to see what to expect? ? Followers then began harassing Chris through texts and Facebook posts, and a 60-year-old woman contacted him through Facebook saying, you will burn. Chris obviously permanently left the group after this, and he said, quote, these people are brainwashed.
Then a few days later, Romana was interviewed by Fox News where she declared she was now the Queen of Canada. But then soon after, she lost her fleet of RVs because of a contractual issue. Her and her followers ended up in a hotel for a week, and she made the hotel keep a room open for more than 300 a night just in case Russian President Vladimir Putin decided to stop by. And it's just, you really start to wonder, does she really believe these things as she's saying? It kind of seems like it a little bit. It seems like she's Or is she just
That's
just
a great
fooling everybody?
question. That's a great question. Is she on board with her own delusional thinking?
Or is this just like a fun manipulative game for her of control and power?
I think if you're going to this extent, wouldn't you kind of have to believe in yourself to this rate?
To be convincing enough too?
Yeah. You must live in this delusion as well. I would be impressed if she didn't believe a thing that she said and just did this as a game.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
That'd be kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah.
Diabolical. But on Telegram, she said, I invite President Putin to join the NATO alliance to continue to preserve peace and prosperity around the world.
She wants Russia to join NATO. Okay, all right.
I welcome you to the Kingdom of Canada. She would later claim that Putin gifted her an autographed watch.
I'm calling bullshit.
She probably found some on eBay.
Yeah, right. At least we know where she lies with the Ukraine-Russian conflict. Clearly,
there you go.
Big Vladimir Putin fan here.
Romana's convoy then rented RVs from private owners and decided to tour Eastern Canada. But many of her followers were tired of driving long hours and putting up with the abuse. And if you've ever driven in a big old RV, they are slow. You're not going anywhere fast. You have to drive much slower. So if you're just driving all over these big expanses of Canada, it's a lot of time to be locked in an RV with Romana.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it wasn't fun.
No.
I'm sure she was a total pain in the ass the entire time.
Yes, absolutely.
But Romana claimed she wanted to go across the U.S., but some complained that they had returned to their family members, including children, whom they have left to, go on tour with her. In response, she said that they should just move their children in with other family members.
Wow.
That's insane. So just no regard for anybody else at this point. It's
just give up your family.
Yeah. Give up your kids, basically, or just move them in with whoever.
Yeah.
Just figure it out,
God.
it sounds like. On a following day, Romana played the song Rasputin for the entire duration of a 10-hour drive, baby.
Oh, my God.
While her followers just sat and listened.
I can't listen to any song for 10 hours, let alone one. Oh, my God. Like one quite annoying song, you could say, after a while, right?
10 hours?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's insane. Do you think that she was trying to test them?
Yeah, it could be. That seems like
who's loyal, who's going to complain, or who's just going to suck it up and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Do you think it was
or her Spotify subscription was canceled or something? They had no cell service out there.
It's my only MP3
the only downloaded song on the playlist.
No.
But yeah, probably some type of test.
I mean, what was your motivation behind playing it for that long?
Torturing the kitchen.
Yeah, me and my Sue at the time was really just to torture the kitchen. That's all it really
You're
was
like,
for.
let's see how much these people like us.
People would go in waves. They would go, maybe like 30 minutes, really annoyed. Then they'd sing along, go back to being annoyed, sing along, go back to being annoyed. It was the front of house that got annoyed and finally pulled the plug.
Gotcha.
The back of house eventually just loved it.
See, I think maybe it was, if there's people complaining, like, I got to go home to my kids. She might have had that same, like, this is a little bit of punishment for you guys.
Well, yeah. And then it continues on the following day. She demanded that they skip breakfast. Wow. That's a fast way to piss people off.
Oh, yeah.
She says, we're skipping breakfast because we got to get back on the road.
Yeah.
And several of her followers refused. So Romana stormed off, leaving many of her followers behind. Some were stranded nearly 2,000 miles away from their homes.
Jesus Christ, man.
And then she has the audacity to just call them traitors.
Of course.
Skip breakfast, fuck you, getting left behind. Stranded 2,000 miles from home.
And you're a traitor.
God.
Yeah, come on, man.
Ugh. Many of her so-called traitors went on to try and cause problems for the group from the outside. They trolled followers through Telegram and DMs.
I like that.
Romana always had a small group of new followers to help her.
Of course.
One man who worked as her journalist was later kicked out when she accused him of leaking information. In a teary video apology, he said this: a personal message to Queen Romana. I love you, and I would lay my life down for you. Wow. Comments like this soon made many wonder what these cultists would do if, in fact, they would be willing to lay down their lives for their leader. And that's the scary part about this. Is that seems kind of like it.
Right. And so, like, you can just take him as, okay, is he just using this as a hyperbole?
Mm-hmm.
But then knowing her followers and her violence that she's incited before, potential violence, it's like, okay, this actually isn't, even if this is hyperbole, this is a dangerous thing to say, that you would actually lay down your life for her.
Should be saying that about your kids.
Right, yeah.
Not some fucking random woman.
Yeah. So, things soon actually turned violent. In August 2022, Romana and her followers gathered outside the Peterborough, Ontario police station. Romana was seen handing out snacks to her followers.
Looks like some cherry tomatoes.
Yeah. What else we got on there?
That is a Costco veggie platter.
Yeah.
Exactly what that is.
Looks like some cucumber or something.
Yeah. She had to go probably with the cheapest snacks she could afford. But this protest outside the police department, it began peacefully at first, but it soon became clear that Romana and her followers were there to attempt citizens' arrests on the Peterborough police officers.
And this is fucking great.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Because I feel like this is a little bit of justice here.
Yeah. So here's a pretty devout follower, Frank Curtin, explaining why they were there at the police station that day.
We are here today to make a citizen's arrest against the members of the Peterborough Police Department for their involvement in the crimes against humanity.
It didn't go well.
You guys are involved in the COVID crime, and we're placing you all under arrest.
No. Fuck you.
Hey,
Actually, you're under arrest.
Hey! I suggest you stand down! Stand down, please! Stand down!
stand down.
Stand down!
You guys are under arrest.
Stand down!
Stand down.
6 protesters were charged, 2, including Frank Curtin, for assaulting police. The fake queen remained inside her RV the entire time, live streaming to her followers.
So the triangular craft, military craft showed up, and that's the special forces. Right above the Peterborough police station.
What? The triangular craft showed up, the special forces showed up, but damn, we still got arrested.
I love that, though. It's like,
Dude,
you're under arrest.
Dude,
and
this
like,
guy got fucked up.
Yeah, he did.
That's what you get for going up to a police station. Like, you're under
arrest
for crimes against humanity.
Yeah. And to clarify, these, crimes against humanity, it was for enforcing COVID restrictions. That was their crime against humanity. And they even called it the COVID crime. And a bunch of dummies.
Like how that went. Imagine just starting to try to arrest a police officer and be like, excuse me, you're under arrest, sir. Citizens arrest.
Yeah, for crimes against humanity.
Got Uno reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to go well.
It's so funny.
Dude, he
got wrecked.
He got
there.
He got destroyed.
Yeah.
And I just love that the queen herself is not out there asserting her authority over these lowly police officers.
Yeah.
She's inside her RV live stream.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think it's for 2 reasons, right? It's like, one, to keep up appearance. She's like, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, I'll let my henchmen go.
Yeah, I'm the queen here. I'm not going to battle.
What do you think? They're going to go out there and drag police officers into her RV? All right, you're on trial.
What actually was the end goal here? It makes no sense. 2, she knew she couldn't do anything, but also it keeps her clean of any actual crime being committed.
Right. She's always very careful to keep herself clean of anything.
Because like always, it's her decrees and her ideas, but when it actually comes down to implementing them,
taking action,
she's going to hang back. She claimed that the military forces had appeared, and it was very obvious, especially to those who were there were no military forces in the sky. She's trying to say that, special forces and an aircraft in the sky.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, my alien buddy showed up. We're good.
Yeah, right. And then she later claimed she was just there at Peterborough's police station, just as an observer. That was it. And then after the incident, a 55-year-old supporter, who I think is the report was trying to keep him anonymous, but I'm pretty sure it was Frank Curtin, claimed that he was seriously injured by police during an arrest that day, but then he refused to provide any evidence, so they couldn't really make a case of it. According to Christina Sarteski, who we mentioned earlier, who has studied the group in great detail, their plan that day wasn't only to arrest the police. They had actually planned to kidnap the police, put them on trial, and then execute them.
So she had clearly convinced at least a select few
this was going
to happen. They were going to be successful with it. What? Did not happen. And I can't think of a worse plan to execute this than to just drive up to the police station
and have
and start like banging on the door and be like, hey, come out here. You're under arrest. Yeah. Like you could have went and found a guy on his own and then like overtake him. And maybe they were like kind of a little bit smart about this. Cause like if you're really going to go kidnap the cops and put them on trial and blah, 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 you do it in a more strategic way so that you wouldn't get caught, right?
Sure.
No, they were just like, we'll roll up and
just, yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to convince them without a struggle.
Yeah. We're peacefully arresting you.
We'll peacefully arrest you, not kidnap. Come on, dude.
And then it looks, you can't really see, but glass shatters, which I think is possibly coming from the cruiser. I don't know if it's the back window or something. But then I'm like, did he smash that window? Is that what kind of started that whole thing? Because it's kind of out of frame, but you can hear and you can see glass shattering. So like, was Frank crazy enough?
He must have done something to really get them riled up.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely got physical in some way, or he started grabbing at them or something.
Right. But yeah, so nuts, man. That this is it, and the fact that this expert, I mean, they truly believed they were going to initiate this plan, and the end goal of this plan was to execute these officers. So, keep that in mind. This is quite an unhinged group here. At any given time, Romana sometimes explicitly demanded things from her followers, or they typically had to ask for permission. Other times, rather than commanding her followers to perform acts of violence and terror, like blowing up government buildings in Canada, she stated she would simply allow it to happen if they wanted to do it. So also just a way of protecting herself, right? She wasn't necessarily commanding them, but she would allow these acts of terror to occur.
Oh, man. Well, regardless of people leaving the group, being disowned, or getting arrested, Romana never seemed to be in short supply of followers. What started as 4 people in a living room had grown to a full mobile convoy involving dozens of people. She always found more volunteers, rented more RVs, and bought one with her followers' money for $62,000. A fan gifted her another one, and many more people were willing to work for her for very little or just for room and board.
Imagine believing in this cause so much that you gift them an RV.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Her followers also were able to raise money through donations because you might be wondering, how did Romana fund this whole thing, right? One former member, Kim Churchill, was once integral to how the group made money. She began as an online follower and supported the group with groceries. She first met Romana at the Freedom Convoy in 2022. Kim's stances on the political angst surrounding COVID-19 aligned with Romana's at first. And soon, Kim wanted to be a dedicated follower, not just online. The cult members first interviewed Kim, asking her things like, quote, "Are you willing to not shower, regularly work shifts at night, work 24/7, and not do laundry for weeks at a time?" I like how that's one of the important questions we got to ask.
I like the first thing is, are you willing to not shower regularly?
It's probably because they're on the road and the RVs have limited water.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, we only sometimes, shack up in a hotel every once in a while. So we're going to get stinky in here.
We're all going to be.
God.
Basically, come on the road and camp with us. So, yeah, she was like, I already pretty much do that. I'll go with you. And in 2023, she packed up her things into an RV and crossed Canada to live with Romana and her followers. Romana, Kim, and 7 others packed their things into 2 RVs and a small bus and headed out on the road again. On the road again. Kim was first hired to do security because she's very qualified to do that, but she later became a cook. Many of the others worked on the website and live streams. Kim also co-hosted the group's nightly news updates, and during these updates, Kim would ask followers for donations. Romana's groups were almost entirely funded by these donations, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's how she had people convinced, man, to this degree.
To give money. And reportedly, some followers even made donations while they faced foreclosure.
Good God.
Can you, how does it even make sense? I'd rather give this woman my last dollar than pay my mortgage. It's so hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
Reportedly, some followers even made donations, or Kim later described this process as a grift. She said that Romana was a content creator and that she was brilliant at it. It's unclear just how many donations she has raised over the years, but one report in 2022 claimed that she raised over $140,000 in donations in just 2 months.
In just 2 months.
That's crazy.
To put that into perspective.
Wow.
Romana,
So really a politician.
Yeah.
Grassroots politician.
Grifter. Yeah. Classic grifter, man. It's wild. I thought she said no more politicians, but here we are.
She's running campaign.
She's got a super PAC behind her. Romana even used American political consultant and lobbyist Roger Stone's image for a fundraising pitch and presented him as an endorsement, although this turned out to be completely untrue, and Roger Stone then warned his Telegram followers that Romana's campaign was a scam. Getting bold out here.
Yeah.
Romana later started her own currency called loyalty money in March 2023. She handed out these pieces of paper that represented an unspecified amount to her very close followers, and she claimed the currency was non-transferable, but it was backed by gold and silver. She promised it would be cashed at the, quote, national and provincial treasuries of the Kingdom of Canada, which does not exist. Several followers believed they could one day use this money to pay bills, pay for housing, and other necessities. Romana never claimed that would have been possible. She's covering her own ass. She did say that her currency would make every Canadian rich in the future, but she needed more donations to keep printing it. Kim was able to get into Romana's inner circle after expressing that she was a true believer in Romana's goals, but Kim soon realized how problematic this group really was. Kim once donated $3,000 of her own money to the group for winter accommodations, just a very general donation. But Romana later told her that the fundraiser would come to an end, but she did not use that money for winter accommodations. Kim then tried to get her money back, but instead Romana kept the money all for herself. Kim was also concerned about how some of the others were being treated within the group. Like in one instance, she witnessed Romana threatening to shoot one of her followers if they didn't pull the car over when she told them to. And she said that anyone who talked poorly about her to the media would be charged with treason and hanged. Despite this, Kim later spoke out against Romana publicly on the news. That's why a lot of people are afraid of speaking out against this group, even former members, because they still kind of believe that Romana has this pull, can try them with treason and possibly hang them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a high level of fear.
Yes. Yeah.
In just being a part of this group.
Yeah.
Even though they've never seen anything done.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They have zero proof that she's ever had anybody hanged, executed, shot.
Nothing.
Just her own words.
Yeah.
Man, I want to see the Romana that isn't online.
Yeah.
I want somebody to infiltrate this group.
Yeah.
And get some footage, hidden camera footage of her. Because it's got to be really fucking bad. She's got to be a total demon.
Yeah. I cannot even imagine. But I don't know. Do you have to be a certain personality that wants to be controlled? Is that people who are attracted to this? Maybe I'm just spitballing, and I'm not saying that her followers are like this, but I'm just for the sake of conversation. Is that what is the draw? You could just I just have someone to tell me what to do every day of my life, and
I'm sure there's some people that resonates with them. I think it's also, I think the hard thing to remember is, especially if you haven't really gone down the conspiracy rabbit hole, is that it can really, you can really deconstruct your reality.
That's a good point.
And really break it down to a point where it really creates a lot of anxiety and paranoia. And I think a lot of these people who are part of our group have really gotten to that place of they're unsure about everything around them and everybody around them. And the level of trust that they have is zero.
Yeah.
And they're really concerned and really feel like this evil that they've been told about is real and that all these things are really happening. And so I think when you really fill yourself with all of that over like day after day after day and continue to hear things, and then you have somebody who is reinforcing those ideas in your head,
it can really just warp your perception.
I think it really can.
Yeah.
I think it's that dangerous.
That's a great point, because even when you think of more old school cults, they had to do that. Romana has the leg up here, because if you're already prone to believing in the QAnon conspiracies, you're already kind of deconstructed from a different reality. So then the cult can kind of build you back up into whatever they want. We often see that like in cults if you go, but normally it's like the members have to break someone down and then rebuild back their reality. They kind of have to, reject your family, disconnect from this, the world is evil. But if you come into our circle, so Romana kind of expedited the process, because she's like, these people are already kind of radicalized online.
Totally.
And already have this worldview. So I can just pick it up from there and get them to join here.
She put like a face to it.
Yeah.
Because Q's this faceless, person, whoever it is. And the fact that had so much power over so many, like you said, they've already deconstructed their reality and they've accepted this reality that Q is presenting. And so I think Romana stepping in, especially for Canadians, and being like, hey guys, no, this is real.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm doing about it.
Right.
That it kind of gave them hope, because I think so many people really believed in Q, that when Q kind of disappeared, it like left.
They were lost.
Yeah. They were like in this abyss with nowhere to go. And so they were looking for a light. They were looking for somebody to pull them out of the darkness. And, she kind of came in. She's like, flutters down with her little angelic wings, her, or maybe she teleported in with her alien, body and was like, hey guys, I'm here. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm here guiding you. And so I think she is right time, right place.
Yeah.
A lot, for her big time. And so,
and the fact that she materialized it, right? Cause like QAnon, 4chan, it's just all these kind of nerds online that never actually come into contact with each other. But yeah, no, she has made this a real place. This is a real convoy. This is a mobile government. We're here. Yeah. So donate to us, because we're actually manifesting this finally.
Right. Well, and also just picking up where Q left off, but also adapting it to Canada. Specifically, because what Q didn't really like reference, it really had no references to Canada as far as I know. It was all about the U.S. military and what's going on in the U.S. and the U.S. presidents, politicians, blah, blah, blah. So she really just was like, oh, well, they're concerned here too. It's, Q is upset with things here in Canada.
Yeah.
And so this is what we need to do. So I think she just really piggybacked. She just piggybacked right off of it and was like, perfect. And so people were already there because Q brought them there. And so she just was like, all right, come with me.
Yeah. Man, if you ever want to start a cult, just find a radicalized group online and then pick it up from there. It's clearly somewhat simple to do.
Just say you got the answers.
Always.
Just go online and literally start talking about how you have the answers. I mean, you could apply that to any influencer that is, there's motivational influence. There's people who are online that are like, I have the answers to X, Y, Z.
It's crazy in the modern day, we're seeing more cults be less conventional. It's not like the commune as much anymore, but in this case, it's kind of double dipping where, a lot of cults are more just internet based now.
Yeah.
But this is both. You get kind of, it started with the internet, but now it's a real place. But God, is this the future of cults? I guess is just content creation.
Could be, man.
All right. In Kim's experience, Romana was psychologically and emotionally abusive to her followers. At the time, she struggled to realize that Romana and her followers had created a cult, but it all became clear when she finally left the group. And Kim had actually only been with the group for about 10 days before leaving. She compared the experience to an abusive relationship, and she was isolated from friends and family in that time, and Romana controlled basically every single thing that she did. So here's a clip of Kim talking about her experience in the cult.
Only 10 days in, Churchill had seen enough.
I said to the group before I go, like, there's no love here, and I am not going to be in the presence of or the absence of love. If this is how she treats you guys, can you imagine if she was really leading Canada? People that still believe in Romana, they have family members who are concerned about them. So I would just say, just be patient, because she's going to be stopped very soon. That's my goal. She needs to stop.
As Romana and her followers continued traveling through Canada, they ended up in Kamsack, Saskatchewan. Like many places she traveled, the local community protested her arrival. They said, hell no, you need to turn around and go back where you came from. She felt so unwelcome that she and her followers left within a day. So there you go. Just make her feel unwelcome.
Yeah.
Then a follower, Rick Mans in Richmound, Saskatchewan, offered her and her crew an abandoned school to stay in. He was a local handyman who had purchased the abandoned school back in 2017. According to Mayor Brad Miller, Rick had wanted to turn it into a medical cannabis operation, but that plan had fallen through. Then the property lay vacant for years, and when he heard about Romana and her followers needing a place to stay, he reached out to them. In September 2023, after having been forced to leave the city of Kamsack by citizens and RCMP police officers, Romana and her followers found a new home. They moved to the small town of Richmound, a desolate rural community surrounded by flat acres of farm fields as far as the eye can see. And what was once a hub of agriculture, oil, and gas is now home to retirees and a few young families looking for an affordable place to live. About 140 people live here, and many hope to live a quiet life, which is why Romana was not met with a warm welcome. She and her followers moved into the town in 2023, and immediately the community protested her presence. They knew she had brought her supporters, who many characterize as cultists, and she also brought her radicalized ideologies and decrees, calling for the murder of police officers, politicians, and ordinary citizens. By then, the locals were very familiar with Romana's history, her conspiracy theories, and her violence. And despite the backlash, Romana and her followers set up their place to stay in that abandoned school. It's estimated that at least 8 people lived inside. As time passed, many locals close to the school complained about Romana's followers harassing them. Roland Davis, a woman who lived across from the school, constantly witnessed Romana's followers taking pictures of her. She constantly felt the need to lock her doors, which she hadn't needed to do before, and having Romana and her followers so close had made her far more paranoid. And knowing the kind of violence Romana encouraged in the past, the locals of Richmound feared that she would bring something similar to Waco in their small town, which I don't think is that far off at this point. By October 2023, the local community set up a large protest against Romana and her cult. They surrounded the school, carrying signs and attaching them to their vehicles. Even more of Romana's followers would eventually show up to the town. Online fans of all ages showed up to Richmound to see Romana give a speech in the school's gym. She called the ceremony We the People, and she live-streamed it online. She mentioned the relentless PSYOP operations working against her and her organization, and she and her followers then declared an oath of sovereignty. Then her followers lined up to meet Romana, and she would give them loyalty money, her made-up currency.
Sweet.
So it's a creator having a big meet and greet.
Yeah. And the Shroot Bucks, apparently, the equivalent of it. And it's like, I like how she's essentially bribing them, too, with this made-up currency. Like, oh, you showed up and you're supporting me? Here's some of my money. What? All right. But one anonymous woman actually spotted her father on the live stream at the ceremony, and he was hugging Romana, and she said it felt like a punch in the gut. She explained, quote, "He's not my dad anymore." He had begun following Romana during the pandemic lockdown because he was anti-mask and anti-mandate. He had stopped paying property taxes, his loans, and his credit card debt. He began saying things like insurance and taxes are illegal. His daughter actually feared that he had been programmed to the point that he could possibly get involved in physical altercations with counter-protesters or the police in town. The locals knew that one of the features of Romana's following included claiming to be a valid authority figure who could discipline others, and this was seen in the Peterborough police station problem in 2022, and the group would use fake court summons and proceedings, self-appointed, peace officers, and citizens arrests. So it was reasonable for the locals to fear violence from these cultists, and while in Richmound, Romana declared that there was, quote, no more big pharma. This is great. So this might seem like a leap from what we were just talking about, but this is kind of how she sucked a lot of people in, especially during this time. So instead of medicine, conventional medicine and healthcare, they would begin using their own medbeds, as she called them, or intergalactic medbed chambers. And these were given to her by aliens. These medbeds were made up mystical healing beds. They used Romana's divine energy, and she claimed they could do a multitude of things: cure cancer, reverse aging, perform surgery, cure cerebral palsy, and even regrow teeth, limbs, and organs. So here she is talking about these mystical medbeds.
No more big pharma. We are replacing that with our med beds.
Wait.
Our med beds are actually now under control of our military.
Medbeds are made-up healing technology that she claims can cure cancer and even regrow limbs. And watch how her outrageous promises affect her followers.
Now, me and my brother was born with CP cerebral with a medbeds. Help cure that?
Yes.
Okay.
It will realign whatever it is that's missing. If you were missing a particular, then it will create one as a human being. They will use that signature as a human being and then perfectly create you as an individual.
Sound science.
Man, I can't wait to get in that. I'll be running the streets. I won't be walking the streets.
It's so sad seeing these people like that guy can't walk and the false hope that she is giving them. And it's so ridiculous and sad to see that.
Oh, it's just evil at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so fucked up to do that to people.
Yeah. And this is just, one of the ways she could rope more people in. She claimed that these, quote unquote, technologies had been, quote, gifted to we the people many years ago, but they were actually stolen by the, quote, deep state cabal, evil fake royal families and elected politicians to continue their pharmaceutical industry profiteering. The previously mentioned anonymous woman's father had actually suffered a traumatic brain injury, and he had stopped seeing doctors because he thought it was a waste of time, and he actually ended up putting all of his faith into these intergalactic medbeds. So that just goes to show how those really drew people in. And here's a clip of that anonymous woman talking about her father and the cult to CTV's W5 Investigative News.
The biggest mistake I made was thinking that this was all a joke and all an online fantasy. It's too late for my dad. We're never going to be able to convince him that this isn't real, but maybe other people, other families, it's not too late for their family member. This is just the way it is. I can't save him from this. And I broke down and I started crying and I said, Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. I'm so sorry. And I can't help you. I don't know what to do.
God. Yeah, so we could see, this is affecting people's lives here. I also highly recommend going to check out the CTV's W5 documentary on this case. It's really good. There's a lot of great interviews, and they focus mostly on the Richmound portion of this cult's journey. Diane Bensketer, a former cult member and founder of Antidote.ngo, helps people deprogram and return family members or friends to their loved ones. She said, quote, "It's horrible. It's like a form of death, but they're still there. So the person that they were is just gone. And they've become this person that is hateful and spiteful and arrogant and spend all their time, every waking moment, listening to this stuff online. It's just so hard for people to deal with." In 2024 in Richmound, Mayor Brad Miller said it's been, quote, like hell ever since Romana and her followers arrived. After their arrival, Romana began sending threatening emails and letters to Mayor Miller and other local authorities. They even threatened to publicly broadcast their executions and would bring, quote, devastation upon their children, grandchildren, and families. Romana's followers routinely celebrated secret executions that they believed had happened. So remember we were talking about how like, oh, they've never actually seen an execution, but they're still invested in all this. I bet she was feeding them lies like, oh, we got one of them.
Yep.
And then they were celebrating that, reinforcing that. Here's a W5 interview clip about Mayor Miller's feelings toward the cult.
Yeah, imagine being a mayor in this town, man.
Right.
To deal with this shit.
Yeah. And this was, I believe, early 2024, I want to say.
Why Richmound? Like 110 people, 120. Why us? Like, I didn't need it. Our townspeople didn't need it.
Did you know much about them?
No, but when you read about her, I can see why the people wanted action right away. It's terrifying, whatever, and the unknown is terrifying, actually. Like, I would be dumb not to say that it doesn't affect myself and my wife. Like, we keep the drapes closed now, and our doors are always locked, double-checked. And, like, I don't want to die sort of thing. It sounds funny what I'm saying now, whatever, but I would take one for the team. If they came and broke the law, I'd be the first one to protect our town, whatever.
Because then that would get rid of them.
They would go to jail and her reign would be done. Yes, that's
pretty extreme.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Have you had any encounters with the group?
No, they won't talk to me. They just sit and videotape, and Romana won't talk to me at all. She says she's the leader or the queen, and she sits behind a closed door and doesn't talk to another leader or another mayor or a council. I think that's chicken.
Also, that is badass. He said, I would rather be the first to die. I'll take the hit for it if they could that could be their end.
It's a real leader right there.
That is,
not one that hides away.
Right, yeah. Wow, stark difference, right, between Romana and the mayor here. Since they moved into Richmound, many fear that Romana or her followers would try to run for city council, try to gain some sort of position of authority in the city. That's a real fear. And I mean, in a city of 140, give or take, they could sway that vote if they had enough followers there, right? In October 2023, the RCMP had met with residents of Richmound to address their concerns. Not many were convinced that the RCMP would guarantee their safety. When they asked why the RCMP weren't doing anything about the cult, the cease and desist orders, and the following death threats that included publicly broadcasted executions, the RCMP always gave them the same excuse. It's still under investigation. By 2024, many locals in the community did not feel safe living in Richmound. W5 actually held a conference with the locals on their own. About 80 individuals attended. So in a population of only around 120, 140, that is a lot of people. That's the majority of the population in this city. Rick Mans, the owner of the school property, was in attendance, and many vocalized their worried and anxious feelings toward the cult. Surprisingly, a vocal minority defended them. They kind of already had gotten hold of some of the regular citizens who live there. Not even the followers, but just the citizens. So here's a video clip of that conference. One local is kind of defending them, another wishing that all the cultists would leave. Gets a little tense.
You're not getting the whole story. Some of these people have threatened their neighbors. Yes, you have. And it's not pretty. People get hurt, and people are getting hurt here on both sides. No, I'm not.
But
so
if I can
off. I'm sick and tired of listening to you.
People like you supporting idiot there.
So the cult makes it better? You know what? It's about time you learned that there's two sides to everything, and that's the community as well.
Many in town blame Rick Mans for what's going on.
My name is Mayor, and I want them gone, including him, the leader of the pack, His Excellency for brains.
Yeah, so that guy clapping in the front row was Rick, and
he's the one who was the abandoned school.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. He's kind of supported them through this whole thing, and I wonder if he's got some money behind him. But also, this is the first time I heard this. I'd watched this clip a few times before, but he's clapping, and you can hear one guy behind him go, "Stick it, Rick." I never heard that before. But it's pretty tense here. People are swearing at each other, screaming at each other. So,
and everybody in this room knows each other.
Right,
It's such a small community like this.
Tiny, yep.
Oh, man. Wild stuff, though. In 2024, Rhonda Blackmore, an assistant commissioner commanding officer of the Saskatchewan RCMP, said this in response, quote, "At this point in time, we have no indication that there's any imminent threat. We would certainly notify the public if there was an imminent threat, but we have no indication of that. It goes back to who made those threats, and if it's not someone from the group, if it's someone online making the threats, then we have to trace that and make sure that we can do that. We have to be able to say that the individual is responsible. The burden of proof in a criminal code investigation is very high. We have to be able to say that beyond a reasonable doubt, this individual is the person responsible for making those threats." And when asked if it was not clear who had sent the death threats, Officer Blackmore responded that the investigation was ongoing.
Classic.
Meanwhile, investigative journalists at W5 uncovered one of the men who wrote at least one of the threatening cease and desist letters. It was the previously mentioned anonymous woman's father, the one that you heard breaking down about the fact that her father is a part of this group. The anonymous woman said that the Calgary police did meet with her father at one point, but he was only given a warning. When the anonymous woman was asked if her father should have been arrested, she responded that he was a financial threat to himself and his wife. She believed he was not physically going to carry out acts of violence, but he was emotionally and mentally threatening people by sending those letters. When the RCMP was asked why the man was in charge, they said this: "To preserve investigational integrity, we are unable to provide information on our investigational steps or evidence gathered." God, the RCMP loves to fucking just make everything complicated.
It's ongoing. We can't provide this information.
It appears that all of these incidents and allegations involving the death threats are still technically under investigation to this day. In November 2023, the group had relocated their vehicles to a field 7 miles out of town, and the local fire chief attempted to investigate possible fire code violations at the school where they lived. Work was apparently done on the property in the meantime, and the group soon returned to the school shortly after. As for Rick Manns, you just saw and heard clapping in that video.
Yeah, the guy with 2 teeth.
Yep. He failed to show up to court for assault charges, and a warrant was issued for his arrest, and he was briefly detained, but the charge was stayed when a witness failed to appear at a November 21st, 2023 court hearing. And there have not been many recent reports on the group in the last several months. As of June 2024, the group was still a controversial presence in Richmound. Many locals were still worried about the group, and one resident even described them as a dormant volcano. Because of Romana's decrees, many have also continued to lose their homes because they are failing to pay taxes, mortgages, and bills. One anonymous resident was quoted saying, "I don't think our village is ever going to recover from all the damage that has been done from them being here and stirring up and ruining relationships here. Worst case scenario is somebody's going to snap and something's going to happen. I don't know who can say whether a local person will get so fed up that they'll go and do something and end up going to jail to try and stop this problem." Reportedly, police are still monitoring them for any criminal activity and any online evidence of threats made against Richmound residents. At some point, Mayor Brad Miller said the village was speaking with lawyers about the situation, but the bills got too expensive. Turned out that Romana had built up a bigger following in Richmound over time, and Mayor Miller hoped that the higher-ranking government officials would eventually intervene, but none have helped. Luckily, Romana's online followers have dwindled in numbers. Her peak following was in 2021 with about 72,000, and today it's estimated she only has a few thousand followers left, even though she once declared that she had over 500,000 followers.
Wow.
Of course, and this is the only way to try to convince her that she is still important. Despite her growing irrelevance, she still runs her website, thekingdomofcanada.ca.
It's a trip if
you
go on it.
It is. And she's got all of her decrees, all 117 of them, last updated on 12/14/2024, which this last decree was her trying to shut down and liquidate the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
Just shut it down.
Shut it down. One unverified source that claimed to have family and friends living in Richmound said the cult's terrorizing efforts have died down recently. In May 2025, there was a public notice in Richmound of an intent to adopt an official community plan and zoning bylaw. This would give the council development and land use decisions of certain properties. And many hoped this would possibly outlaw the residential use of the school building and possibly regulate parking and use of RVs on properties directly next to common play areas. But if the property has been officially turned into residential living and up to code, then the bylaw couldn't be enforced, especially since it's private property. And at this point, many hope that if the cult can't be permanently removed, they can at least keep to themselves and stop terrorizing the locals and making death threats. But it really seems like things have quieted down.
It does, yeah. And I think the spotlight, especially from like W5 and just like international news, I think they kind of realize like, okay, shit, it's too hot right now. Maybe we should stop making death threats because this is putting the spotlight too harsh on the group.
Yeah.
So it seems like they've backed off a bit. They're still there though, and guarantee if you go up to that school building, you'll see one of the followers come out with their smartphone and start
recording you. Yeah.
them.
And they still have their Telegram link because it's like where they do all their communicating, it seems like, for the most part.
Yeah.
Still looking for new followers, still, but it seems like it's very just, I don't know.
I think they're going to eventually run out of money, is my guess. Because the followers, I don't think they have a strong following as much anymore. So those donations are probably not coming in.
Yeah, they're not getting 140 grand in 2 months.
Right. Yeah. So I think they're just going to run out of money eventually and have to pack up.
Might have to go get a real job.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
What are you going to do? How would you ever get a job after that?
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
I am the Queen of Canada. Yeah, will she keep that up for the rest of her life?
I hope so.
It seems like she's committed. She's got it tattooed on her,
This is
Queen of Canada.
I mean, this has become her whole identity at this rate. So
you think she sits on a throne in that school?
I hope so.
She sits on a throne,
goofy
like our
throne.
thrones. We sit on a throne.
We sit on thrones.
She sits in there.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on there? Like, what's there? What does she do? Does she do anything?
I don't know. I think she just talks a lot of bullshit. I think that's basically all she's doing. But I also just, after going over all this, I feel like she's just a really lonely person at heart. I don't think she really has any close loved ones or really close friends. She's not married. She doesn't have children of her own. I think she just doesn't have anybody. So this is her way of like trying to have human connection in a really twisted way.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Well, I don't feel bad for her.
No, me neither.
No, join a club. Fucking
do it some other way.
Get a hobby.
Yeah.
You don't need to fucking do all this nonsense.
No,
and, destroy families.
I feel like that is her motivation, though. It's because, like, why else do this? What is it? What is even the point other than feeling insignificant? I think is just her pure motivator. She wants to be special. She's not.
She wants to be special. Yeah, at any cost.
I do want to bring up earlier when I was talking about that video with the screenshot. I found it. It's actually from a blog that she ran back in 2006 on blogger.com. I'll link it in the description. But it says that her favorite movies are The Secret, Wuthering Heights, and Star Wars. And then her favorite
Wuthering
books.
Heights.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's a feminist. All right.
And then her favorite books are Power of Intention, Think Like a Billionaire, and The Art of the Deal.
Yeah, there we go.
That's right, baby.
Donald Trump. Yeah,
all the way back
in
in 2006.
Yeah. No way this woman has read Wuthering Heights. I don't believe that for a second. Or she just has a really bad take about that book.
But no, I think she watched the movie. I don't think she read the book.
Oh, it's the movie. Okay, all right, gotcha.
It's from like 1939, right?
Was there? I didn't realize there was an.
Wasn't it published in 1847?
The book, yeah, but I think he was saying she had the movie on her shelf.
Yes, Wuthering Heights, the 1939 film.
Gotcha. Yeah,
she didn't read the book. She watched
I don't think she could read the book, even if she tried.
She read Art of the Deal.
Yeah, because
that's the reading level.
Book.
That's like
third grade. Yeah,
they help you sound it out in that book.
Yeah. It's pictures.
Yeah.
So I mean, there you have it. There you have it, man. What a wild one.
She reminds me. There's just some oddball mystery left in this world that it's hard to understand. And
just people are lost, dude.
Yeah, people are just
so
lost
and they look for anything to grab onto.
Yeah, I think people are angry too, especially in this case, right? With like the conspiracies and the COVID-19 stuff. It's people are just really up in arms about it.
People aren't armed with the facts.
Yeah.
They're getting so many different versions of the truth.
Yeah.
They don't know which one is the truth anymore.
Yeah.
It's all confusing for everybody. And he's just pissed off. I get it. We're all pissed off.
Yeah, that was a tumultuous time. I will say, though, in hindsight, I don't know if you want to come at me or not, fine. I do think, man, if you made this your whole personality of like the anti-mask and the mandates and everything, and this was like your biggest burden to bear, you were probably pretty privileged. You're probably all right. If this is like really where you draw the line and you think this is a crime against humanity,
a temporary thing.
Yeah, that was like...
That's the hill you want to die
on?
During a global pandemic.
Yeah, I think... I don't know. I can't really trust your opinion on anything.
Yeah. And that you think, these amazing, the real fucking angels, the healthcare workers.
Oh, yeah.
The first responders, the people that are actually putting their lives on the line every single day to save other people's lives and to help prevent the spread of COVID should die, should be executed.
Yeah.
Sorry. You've lost all credibility in every way, and you should probably be locked up. Honestly. Like, you should not have a platform at the very least.
And it also hits me a bit personally because my mom, I was watching, she had to do the whole hazmat suit with the gas mask.
Your mom is
before going in there,
medical professional. So.
Yeah, and she was about to retire, and then the pandemic hit. She's like, I can't retire now because this is when they need me most. So anybody who has that sentiment, I'm just like, you're just a fucking idiot, man. I'm sorry. I know that might piss some people off, but yeah, I just and not to say there's not nuance to the discussion and how the mandates were handled or et cetera, but going this radical and this far where they should have 2 bullets put in their head. God.
Yeah.
It's extreme.
Yeah, you're the dumbest of the dumb, I think.
Dumb. Romana, dumbass. And that's where we'll leave you. Yeah, let us know your thoughts on this. So I know this was a bit of a different episode for us, but sometimes we just need a laugh here and there.
Got to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Got it. Sesh, keep.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Fresh. Yeah, we're the sesh today. Keep it fresh. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on Romana Didulo, dumbass, queen of nothing. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us today. If you enjoyed this episode, definitely, or you hated it, let us know either way. But hopefully it was interesting. I know we thought it was really interesting to it's just kind of this niche, bizarre, person and topic that I thought, what the hell?
And we cover cults.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's definitely got a little cult going on over here. So, yeah, let us know. We'll see you guys next week. But until then, lights out, everybody.